Okay, so for the secondary hull, I went ahead and I took the parts and I painted a nice coat of black paint in the parts. So when I drill them and I put the lights in, there'll be no bleed through. There'll only be light from the windows. And what I'm going to do is, when this is dry, I'm going to put a coat of silver on so I can get it to reflect. So it'll be all set to put the lights in. Okay, so I went ahead and I put some silver on the black primer. And what this is going to do is it's going to reflect the light on the inside. So one bulb will look, a little more intense and when you're together. And like I said, because I painted the insides, the light won't bleed through to the other sides when I drill them. So the light will come through the holes and that's it. And I put the little cone for the light bulb, put it silver because that was clear plastic. And a little tidbit for you guys. You know what really helps for a little paint holder? Is a little battery containers. They make perfect little containers to hold your paint while you paint. So that's a good little tidbit for you guys to know. That's when you're not airbrushing. And I didn't airbrush these. I used a brush. So this is all set. When it's dry, I'll be able to drill the holes and start putting the hull together. And I'll attach it to the base and start the wiring. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've painted silver on the secondary hull parts and on the neck, and this is where the light is going to come through for the reflector dish. And it's a good idea to paint that a silver reflective paint so the light reflects. That's the reason why I painted over the black with a silver on the inner workings, because the holes are going to be drilled and the lights are going to penetrate, but you don't want, I guess, light pollution to leak through, because it just won't look right. It'll look like a little model. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to drill all the windows out, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so I went ahead and I glued these two secondary hull pieces together. Like I showed you, the holes are drilled and it's going to be lighted. These lights did not come with the kit, and this is something that I'm doing, like adding to. But I've got two lights that I'm going to be putting in to light the secondary hull. Now, as you can see, there's nothing to anchor them to, so I'm going to try to fabricate something to anchor them to inside so the lights will stay in place. Okay, so I went ahead and what I did was I took some extra plastic from the trees that the parts were attached to, and I broke off two pieces, and I'm going to use those to anchor the lights in place that I put in. And as you can see, the light bulbs that I'm adding to the kit. So these are going to be anchored to that to hold them in place so they don't move around. And, if the light falls up against the wall, it's not going to illuminate the whole area. So if this is going to be in the middle, it's going to illuminate better than it is if it's resting on the bottom. So let's wait for that to dry. Okay, so I've attached the secondary hull to the base, and I ran all the wires through, and I'm in the process of attaching the reflector dish. I glued the reflector clear plastic reflector bulb in. I got it to the dish and I glued it all in place. I'll be attaching it to the secondary hull, and I'll be attaching the panels where the nacelles are going to be attached. Okay, so if you can see, I went ahead and I glued the lights, the extra ones that I put in, onto the little bases that I put and glued inside of the secondary hull. You can see this is going to be what's going to illuminate the windows. And because I didn't want them moving around, it would look better if they were stationary, especially in the middle, for the lighting. So we'll wait for that to dry and we'll start the nacelle bases. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've gathered the wires and I glued the neck. The difficult part of this model is it's hard to build because you're basically building it from the bottom up, and the panels they don't go together that fantastic. Even the box, the finished model on the box, has some. You could see the lines and the stuff from the pieces, but I clamped it. I'm working on the next section. And because I'm adding extra lights, I've got an extra thick set of wires going through, so it's going to be difficult to get it in there, and there's not a lot of room in the neck. So I'm going to try to, let me show you what the set that I added, the set of lights on. I can find it, there we go. As you can see, I'm going to have to reposition the bulb inside. I'm going to put two bulbs in the neck, but because there's so many wires, it's probably going to pose a problem. You can see that some of the lighting. These are the lights that I added. There was no lights in the secondary hull on the windows, but when this is dry, then I'll glue the neck into place onto the body. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and I glued all the pieces to the secondary hull together. Like I was saying earlier, this model. It's designed to be built from the bottom up. So aligning all the pieces is pretty. I don't want to say difficult, but the pieces, how they were molded. There's a lot of gaps I'm going to see if I can use some paint to kind of lessen the harshness of the lines. Let me go ahead and put the lights on. You can see I used lights that weren't included in the kit, and because there was so many wires in here, it's tough to get it into the neck section. There's a lot of lights that aren't going to light up, but it's still the windows that weren't going to light up before. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to touch up some of the secondary hull, put a little paint, and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so I went ahead, and because I put extra lights in here, because I wanted to light the secondary hull and the neck, what had happened was, make a long story short, I had an extra battery pack. Now, underneath of this, it gives you room for the one battery pack that runs all the lights that comes with the kit, but I had additional lighting. So what I did was I ended up gluing the battery pack with the switch on it to the back of the base and painting the walls of it black. So hopefully it's not going to be that noticeable. When you're looking at the model itself, and that'll be attached because it was free and it was flopping around and stuff, and it was just in the way, so hopefully that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I finished the secondary hull, where the photon torpedoes go. You know, I wanted to light that, but it just wasn't going to be enough room in there, and it wasn't going to be lit the way that I had preferred it. I tried to cover the crack and with a little bit of white paint to fill the black line in a little bit, and I'm going to sand that and see how that looks. You can see the battery pack that I installed on the back. Let me go ahead, I'm going to show you, put the lights out and try to show you anyway what it looks like with the lights that I installed. I know it's still pretty bright in here, but these are the extra lights that I put in. And that's going to be the lighting. And hopefully, I'm thinking over here is going to help with the saucer section where the impulse engines are. And with let me go ahead and put the lights on that came with the model. It's got that, so it's coming along. It's going to look really cool. It's the Enterprise, so it's got to look cool. But that's it. Well, for now anyway, until the finishing touches with the stickers and the sanding and stuff. But the secondary hull is built, and now I'm going to start on the nacelles.